back to another Ask the Experts. This week is all about dry skincare and sensitive skincare. So if it's your first time joining us, I'm Karen. I'm the founder of Blomma Beauty, and I'm joined tonight by two experts in dry and sensitive skincare, Lucia and Vanessa. I'll intro them in a minute, but thank you so much for joining us tonight, especially when the weather is so nice. So I hope you've got a glass of something nice and cold to kind of sit and enjoy while we go through tonight's chat. As always, put your questions in the comments on the right hand side and we'll answer them as we go along. We've had a couple in advance, which is great, and then obviously I've got questions that I'll be putting to the panel to kind of guide the conversation. I think as this one is quite specific, it's just important to kind of note that whilst lots of people switch to natural and organic products when they have maybe really bad sensitive skin conditions, we'd just kind of caveat it and say make sure you get some medical advice, as well as maybe trying some of the tips that our experts mentioned tonight. So I'm just going to introduce our experts. We've got Lucia, who's from Casa Mencarelli skincare, which is certified organic, and it's designed specifically for sensitive skin types. And then we've also got Vanessa from Ezape Naturals, who also has formulated her range specifically for dry skin conditions. So they're super knowledgeable on this topic. And I think we'll just dive straight in, and it'd be really great to hear from both of you, your kind of story as to why you came up with your ranges, because I think they kind of interweave so perfectly with the topic tonight. So Lucia, do you want to start and tell us how Casa Mencarelli came to be?
Yes, hello, and thanks very much, Karen, for having me here again.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so all my skincare range is based on sensitive skin because I've been affected personally, and so that's why I wanted to create a line that was not only not causing irritation or causing problems, but healing and making feel the skin better. So originally invented for sensitive skin, but then with experience you see that there are different kind of sensitivities, allergies, and so when you have good ingredients, natural, organic, the skin is feeling better, and so many of the issues, redness or itches, disappear. So yeah, we love natural and organic.
Definitely. And your story, if you care to share it, came from quite a severe reaction, didn't it? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, it just happened a few years ago. I tried the body lotion and I got anaphylactic shock. It means that I was dying. I was home alone, and I thought, okay, that's me. That's, I'm not going to see my parents again, and all this. Practically what it did, so it was a body lotion. So I had dinner, shower, and then straight into bed. The first thing I noticed was this strong smell of the product. So that's why, if you put something on your body or your face and you perceive something that's totally unpleasant, stop it, because that's your body telling you that maybe the product is not all right. And so what I've done, just it doesn't matter, I just go to bed, and then I wake up inflamed. My lungs were inflamed, like I was burning on my skin, like my skin was totally red, purple, and my lungs were burning and I couldn't breathe. So, I couldn't breathe. Probably I even didn't have a phone, or I even didn't think of phoning someone in the middle of the night. So, I just managed to bring myself to the bathroom. I had a very cold shower. And then I was standing on the balcony for all night, because if I went to bed, I probably would have died, because my diaphragm was not moving. So, I had to put real effort to move the breathing. So after that, my life changed, because it wasn't, I thought, it's a one-off, but then, 5 days I was really bad. And then I thought, yeah, I'm okay. And then, I moved. And after that, I started to notice that there were some things very annoying, like perfumes, antibacterials, paint. But, just again, disregard everything and continue as normal until when it became so bad. And then in there, I realized that, some things happened that changed my resistance to synthetic chemicals, and that changed me forever. So my lungs are no longer, like say, normal, and I am reacting to all synthetic ingredients, because the same things that you can find, for example, in nail paint could be on your carpet, could be on your new sofa or your new carton. So, anything that's new, it's a problem. But anyway, I survived, and I thought, I just need to do something that's different. So I retrained myself as a nutritionist. And then, so I got a diploma, and then I got another diploma for skincare formulation. So organic skincare formulation, because I wanted to do something good, and because I wanted to prove that you can cure yourself eating the right food and applying on your skin, the best ingredients, which are obviously organic and even better, organic certified.
Yeah.
Everything you put on your skin, it goes into your bloodstream. So that's why it's important to read the labels.
Yeah, definitely. It's so scary to think that a product, like completely innocuous product like a body lotion, can have such a severe reaction. Obviously, it's a terrible story to hear, but actually it's led you to where you are today. So, and that's with an amazing range of products, and they're, helping lots of other people. So I think that's a positive out of quite a terrible situation. And then Vanessa, for you, your story came about with your children's experience with sensitivity and dry skin. Can you tell us your story as well? Because I know it's a really lovely one, made with love.
So I formulate body care products to help dry skin conditions, and it's because all three of my children have had like dry skin and eczema as well. So I started formulating about 6 years ago when my daughter had eczema all over her body, and I went to, obviously I got something prescribed from the doctor, and it didn't do anything. It was like a wash and a cream, and it didn't do anything for her skin. And so I got different other things from the pharmacist. I just would go into the pharmacy and say to them, my daughter's got eczema, what can you give me for her skin? And I tried basically everything that they could offer me, and then I went to health food shops like Holland and Barrett's to get products from there as well, and nothing really seemed to work. So I just thought to myself, what can I do? And I started watching YouTube videos and that on how to make a body butter. So I thought, let me see if this will work. So I just decided, I didn't really know what I was doing, but I just decided to make a body butter just using some shea butter, coconut oil, and I just used some of the Flora sunflower oil that we had as well at home. And I had some rosemary oil that I was using in my hair, and rosemary mixed with almond oil. And I just decided to mix all those together and made a body butter. It wasn't a very good one, but I made a body butter for my daughter, and I applied it to her skin. And then, because I applied it at night, and then the next day, I noticed her skin already started to improve. There's the dryness that she would usually wake up with, it wasn't as dry. And I was like, wow, I didn't think that this would actually work. And I kept applying it 3 times a day, every day. And it eventually cleared up her whole skin. I was like, wow, I really want to help other people as well are suffering with dry skin and eczema. So that's why I decided to start up the brand.
That's amazing. That's so lovely. And yeah, I know that lots and lots of people use it to help their own dry skin, which is fantastic. And it's kind of a familiar story. Quite a few of our brands come from personal stories, but you've sort of hit the nail on the head there, Vanessa, because it's when people, you get advised something, maybe by the doctor or the pharmacist, and it's very sort of synthetic laden ingredients, and people do kind of see that they don't really work, and they do turn to those kind of things like you said that are in the kitchen cupboard, that are natural and, you know, are going to be good for our skin as well. So yeah, I think there's some really nice stories within all of the products in your ranges, which is great. If we're going to maybe start with some technical elements, I think quite often people associate sensitivity with dry skin, but it's not necessarily always the case, is it? So can you experience sensitivity whatever your skin type, and also what are the most common skin types as well? Lucia, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, so skin can vary, and you know, it's it can be, you know, the weather, it can be the location as well, no? If it is moisture or if it is very dry, and then the season, you know, light sun exposure. So apart from this that are like variables, then also a lot what we eat, what we apply on our skin, what kind of detergent we use, because, you know, if you think that we put our face on the pillow the whole night, so it's also important to check like other variables that are in our lifestyles. Generally speaking, you know, we have oily skin, dry skin, normal, sensitive, and it's all depending on how the skin reacts to the environment. Oily skin tend to have a bit more like larger pores, so that's why, you know, they produce more oil, and that's what makes the skin a bit more oily. But we need to remember that oil on the skin is essential because it makes the skin, how do you say, moisture and velvety, no? Otherwise we would be like a dry plum or like dehydrated.
Shriveled up piece of fruit.
Yeah. What we need to find is the right balance. Instead, for example, dry skin, it's maybe, how do you say, maybe we treated our skin a bit aggressively, or, you know, it could be that there is a change in temperature, like hot, cold, especially during the winter when we are all cozy and nice inside, and then we go outside, maybe snowing. And also, if it is very dry outside, you can be dehydrated. So there are many, you know, many, how do you say, variations. And then obviously there is normal combination skin and sensitive. So we can be sensitive on our skin even if we are oily, because, you know, most time it's associated, you know, dry and sensitive. It is likely, but, you know, it's not really the rule. Because if you use, for example, aggressive detergents, let's say you have oily skin and you are like, oh God, you know, it's too much oil, so wash and wash and wash and soap and, I don't know, peels, you know, like chemical peels,
Yeah.
or a lot of bar soaps or cleansers, micellar waters. You know, we need to see what's in there and how it affects your skin. So, you know, the more you strip the skin from the oil, and the more it will produce. And internally, obviously, it's all, you know, the diet as well. So if you eat too much, I don't know, fish and chips, let's say, you know, the fish is good, the fry part not too much, or like crisps, or, you know, anything that's non-fresh, it can affect the skin and also the hair, and, you know, it can give oily skin or oily scalp as well. So, you know, it's a bit of rebalancing and understanding what we can do better and making little changes, like, you know, okay, if I don't eat for a week junk food, how do I feel? How does my skin feel?
Yeah.
And then, you know, try to see if it is a detergent or anything else that could be in contact with the skin or the environment.
Yeah. And I guess that leads on to Vanessa. If we've maybe come into contact with something, or there's a particular ingredient that we're a bit sensitive to, how might that show up on the skin? I mean, you talked about eczema, but what are the other signs that we might see?
So if you've reacted to a product, then usually it's like quite red or rashes appear, because like my boys, both of them have sensitive skin as well. So when I've used something on them, I'll see that they've got little lumps all over their chest and their back, and then I'll know that they've reacted to something, and I've got to try and work out what it is that they've reacted to, because their reactions don't seem to be straight away. It's like a couple of days, and then I'll see it on their skin. I've got to try and trace back to what it possibly could be. But yeah, it's usually sensitive is quite hot as well. The skin can feel sometimes and itchy.
Yeah, I picked some basil this week from my garden, and I'm normally absolutely fine with basil, and about 10 minutes later my whole body had gone red, little pinprick feeling, never had anything like it, but as Lucia said, I just washed myself really, really quickly and got it off the surface of the skin. But like, it could be quite difficult to try and trace that back if you don't have a reaction immediately. So how do you think we can try to learn what it is that's causing the reaction, Vanessa?
I think to introduce products slowly into, like if you're using a new product, to try and maybe look at the ingredients first as well.
Yeah.
And make sure you're not sensitive to any of them. And then if you do get a reaction to it, try and work out what it is that caused it, and don't introduce too many products all at once, because then you won't be able to work out what exactly it is that's caused the reaction. But it isn't like just products as well. It can be many other things that cause reactions, because it can be sometimes eating like inflammatory foods and things like that as well that can cause it.
What would you say are some inflammatory foods that people could maybe spot as a bit of a trigger to their sensitivity?
I think it is already like what Lucia mentioned, it's like fatty foods and a lot of things with artificial foods, and that are mainly the triggers, I think. So we should really try and eat whole foods that are better for us, that can help repair our skin and our bodies and everything as well.
Yeah, I think, like, I mean, obviously we're all into our beauty products and our skincare, but so much of it really starts with diet and nutrition. I mean, for years I suffered with contact dermatitis, psoriasis, all around my eyes, all over my body, and it was actually, I couldn't work out what it was. I always just thought I had a really dry skin condition and that was it, but it turns out I was celiac and I had an autoimmune disease, and then since then, cutting gluten out of my diet, I no longer have, I mean, I still have a dry skin type, I would say, but I now no longer have the psoriasis or the kind of dermatitis. So yeah, I think it can be really important to try and link back food issues as well, because it can just kind of show itself on the skin, can't it? We talked a little bit about ingredients, potentially let's go to skincare rather than to diet, but what ingredients, Lucia, are quite common for causing sensitivity that are maybe in either mainstream products or even indeed organic and natural ones that people should watch out for?
Yeah. The first thing I would say, alcohol, synthetic ingredients like anything that starts with acrylic, it sounds already like synthetic. And then also like obviously paraben, fragrance, also like nickel. Some people could be allergic to nickel. So a simple test at the GP will help, to check if it is nickel. So if it is not, you need to check, what's the rest. But, if you, anytime you buy a product, you should check and not the front label, because, actually I had a customer yesterday telling me that, I bought one of those products that are really for sensitive skin, but, as soon as I put it on my face, it became like purple and, incredible pain and itch. So she sent me a picture of the label, and it was totally like 3 or 4 types of alcohol. And you can identify alcohol with anything that starts or is in between ethyl or methyl, ethyl alcohol, ethylene, or, all this. And obviously the preservatives, because even there are some preservatives that are accepted by organic standards, like benzyl alcohol, or benzoic acid, or sodium benzoate. So anything that starts with benz, B-E-N-Z, to me, it causes allergy to the lungs as well.
Okay.
But, most people, it's just, skin irritation. So these are the, look for natural. Natural generally means that you understand all the ingredients that are on the back label, and try to avoid essential oils if your condition is bad, because many times if you use 3, 4, 5 products with different essential oils, maybe you're using too much. And what it does is that it ruins the skin barriers, and that's when the skin starts to be inflamed.
Yeah.
Or red, or unpleasant, itchy.
Just a question on alcohol, actually. Chantal's asking, and it's one that I'd like to know as well, because there's things like fatty alcohols, like cetearyl alcohol or others, which some people say are okay. Would you agree with that, Lucia?
Yeah, because, the cetyl alcohol is actually an emulsifier. So it's a fat that comes from generally grain. So, be careful if you are maybe allergic to wheat. So because this generally comes from wheat, you need to check, and make your research. And if you don't know, and if you are unsure, ask the producer. So, you just go to your brand, you send the message, and then generally they're all very helpful. And so that's, but anything that's methyl, ethyl, and that's, also when you have this kind of ingredient, sometimes you have like interbrackets, a description in English. So that's again what you would be looking for.
Okay, and that's on the INCI list. And then, you mentioned that some of the alcohol could be wheat derived, and Chantal's asking me, well, all of us really, do I then use gluten-free cosmetics? I've done a lot of reading on it. I do try to avoid it, and particularly like oat extract as well, because oats can cause sensitivity. And then, anything that's kind of wheat derived, I would try to avoid. But most of the reading I've done, it depends on how severe your allergy is, but it's really only if you ingest it, it's what it does to your stomach inside your body, because it's an immune related disease. So I think I do it just to be safe, but from what I can gather, unless you're a really, really extreme case, popping something like that on your face shouldn't cause a reaction. But sometimes it's good to just be on the safe side.
You just need to double check, and always try first a bit on your hand.
Yeah, always do
Then wait
test.
a couple of hours, or even like one day, because we said earlier on that reactions can appear later on. So just be careful, and if you really have strong allergy, I'm not talking about sensitivity, I'm talking about allergy. That's an Ig reaction, meaning, your body is reacting with the antigens. Then, be careful.
Yeah.
And, you can always try, and you can look for brands that do not have this kind of ingredient.
Yeah. Lucia, you touched upon essential oils, but Vanessa, are there particular essential oils that cause more sensitivity than others, or what do you believe is the right thing to do when it comes to sensitivity in essential oils?
I think, I use my essential oils quite low amounts, and the ones that I tend to use more are lavender and chamomile, because I know that they can be quite good for dry and sensitive skin conditions as well, because I don't tend to use like all the other, there's many essential oils that I don't tend to use, because I know that people with dry skin do tend to have a bit of sensitivity as well. So I try and just stick to mainly those two, or like some new products that I'm working on won't have any essential oils in it at all, because I don't really want to be making people's skin condition worse. I want to try and really be helping that. So I think sometimes it's better to avoid essential oils. But yeah, I do like lavender and chamomile because they do help, but they are anti-inflammatory as well.
And when you talk about the concentration, and obviously from your own experimental journey to creating your products, how did you know what was safe and what was not when you were kind of playing around with your formulations?
In the beginning, I wasn't really sure. From the YouTube videos that I watched, they used like a low amount, so I just used like a teaspoon, I think, the first time when I made the body butter, so that I could. Well, I knew that it was only supposed to be a little bit, but because it was already mixed with almond oil anyway, so it wasn't too concentrated anyway. But then I started doing more research, and then I found out like the percentage is like 1% or something. So I use sometimes 1% or lower than that in my products, so that I don't use too much to cause any reactions, you know. But then everyone is different as well, so those essential oils that I use, people could also react to those as well, because everyone reacts to different things, really.
Yeah. And when we're looking for concentrations, if we're maybe trying to spot essential oils, will it say essential oil on the label? And how far down in the ingredient list should we expect essential oils to be?
Well, the essential oils are usually last, but it's just before the allergens, because there are allergens in every essential oil as well. So it's usually just before the allergens, because we can't really have a high amount of essential oil in our product, so it will never be first or in the middle. It will always really be last.
So if it is, we should worry. Not buy that product.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. Are there any other ingredients other than essential oils which you would also say to maybe avoid or be wary of?
I would say avoid like sodium lauryl sulfate, because that ingredient is what is known to dry out the skin and disrupt the skin's barrier and everything. So that because it does that, because it disrupts the barrier and makes the skin drier, it makes it crack and things like that, then it causes the sensitivity as well. So it is probably better to avoid that ingredient. Like as well, for me, when I was younger, I remember using a facial wash that had that ingredient in it, and I used it like every day thinking it was good for my oily skin, because I had like spots on my skin and everything, thinking it was great for my skin, trying to get rid of the spots. And after I finished washing my face used to be so dry. And then I used to put like a lot of moisturizer on to try and combat that, but then it didn't help at all, and it just made my skin worse, because my skin then produced more oil, and the moisturizer that I was using wasn't any good either. So
we're just layering problem on top of problem, and it's not sorting it. And yeah, I guess that's when we say, like, obviously some products are really helpful to help manage these conditions: eczema, dermatitis, psoriasis, redness, rashes. But really it is super important to find the root cause if you can. So we'll talk about that a little bit at the end, but just one more question on ingredients to avoid. Would nickel be in a cream? I think, Lucia, you mentioned nickel, or would it be in the packaging, or both? Could we experience it in both?
Yeah, there are some ingredients that they contain nickel, but just because it's the normal natural composition. So let's say chocolate, okay? So if you eat chocolate and you're fine, it means that you're not allergic to nickel. And another thing could be tomato or tea and coffee. So, if you are okay with all these, it's very likely that you don't need to even to check. It could be either in an emulsion or in a butter as well, or in a balm. It depends what ingredients are used, and also what part of the ingredient. Because if, for example, nickel on tomato will be on the juice, not on the oil, because the oil is fat, and it's like you take away the tomato, you are just left with the seed, you make them dry, and then you press them to get the oil. So, you also need to see what kind of, if it is severe allergy, or if it is just mild, or if you just like chancing and think that it could be. one thing that, because I have a friend which is also one of my best customers, she has strong allergy to nickel. So she reacts also like to zip, you know, the metal zip.
Wow.
Or like to belt, you know, if you have a belt with the buckle, metal that will contain nickel. So, you know, that's the thing, you know, you would just, I'm not telling you to do it, but, you know, if you have ever noticed something like redness near the belt or near the zip, that could be a sign.
Okay, good to know. I think we've maybe been the voice of doom about ingredients to avoid, but let's maybe talk about some ingredients that can be really good for helping calm and soothe that kind of irritation or those dry skin conditions. So Vanessa, you talked about lavender and chamomile. What sort of properties do they have that make them so great for helping our dry skin conditions?
So really the anti-inflammatory properties that make it so great, and the anti-inflammatory properties, and they're soothing and calm the skin down. I think that's it. There was 2 other ingredients that I was actually going to talk about.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, please.
I like for dry skin is really shea butter and coconut oil. That combination is like the 2 ingredients that are in most of my products, and because of the fatty acids and the vitamins found in those ingredients, it makes it really moisturizing and nourishing. I find those 2 ingredients work better together though, because I have tried like coconut oil separately and shea butter separately, and I don't get the same effect of them helping as much. So those ingredients combined, I find really, really effective for like treating dry skin, and they are like anti-inflammatories, as they will also help with sensitivity.
Good. And Lucia, how about you? Have you got particular ingredients you would recommend people to try if they're experiencing sensitivity?
Yeah, generally it's a combination of ingredients, because as Vanessa was saying, you know, it's not generally just the one that makes miracles. But, you know, in each oil and butter, they have different composition, and they contain different fatty acids to make it easy, like in omega-3, 5, 6, 7, 9, more or less. So you are maybe looking for a combination of the whole of them. So I'm very much for shea butter, and I combine it with rosehip and rice bran oil. They are like very calming and soothing, and they regenerate the skin. So, you know, you will be looking for something that's soothing, nurturing and healing, because you want to calm, but also you want the skin recovered. So yeah, you know, like rosehip, sea buckthorn, rice bran, even oat oil, which is very calming. But again, you know, it depends if you have allergies to wheat or, you know, the family. Another ingredient that could be good is allantoin. But you see, like when you have sensitive skin, I always advise people not to use emulsion, because on the emulsion you have a big part that's water, and I mean tap water. Tap or filter water is not going to be mineral or sparkling water, and then you have extracts and you have preservatives. So you could be reacting to the preservative or to some of the extracts, and also in an emulsion you have maybe only 20% of the ingredients that are value, and then the water is 80%. So you know, it's a lot. And that means that it's not going to nourish enough your skin. When you use a balm, on the other hand, you have 100% solid ingredients which are nourishing for the skin. So I would advise balm or serum, but oil serum with no water, and looking for the soothing ingredients. Yeah,
no, that's great. I think Chantal's asking, is there an oil profile to look for example, oils high in oleic acid or linoleic acid? Sorry, tongue twister there. Is that sort of the oils you were mentioning, Lucia, the kind of fattier ones?
Yeah, for example, you see acne skin. You think, I know it's oily skin, but no, you can still be sensitive on your skin. And generally, you need a lot of linoleic acid eating and on your skin.
Yeah.
So if you have like eczema or acne or some kind of skin condition, always try to add a bit of cold pressed oil to your salad, because you start healing from the inside, and then look for a different composition of oils. You know, if you put an oil on your skin, sometimes you perceive it greasy, sometimes you absorb quickly. So be aware that, you know, different oils, they have different molecule sizes. So we were talking about coconut. Coconut has very big molecules, so it will not absorb very quickly. But if you mix it with something else like rosehip, and generally seeds like rosehip, sea buckthorn, grape seeds, they have very small molecules, so they absorb very quickly. So you look for a composition of different, I would say maybe like 3, 4, or 5 cold pressed oils.
Okay.
Which would make, you know, very likely to be a good combination. But for dry, sensitive, and acne, you need to look for linoleic acid.
Yeah, and I guess there's, when you say the kind of molecule size, it kind of leads to the penetration. So some oils are good for having a barrier on top of your skin so you don't lose any more moisture, and others penetrate a little bit deeper so that they can kind of nourish from within. Vanessa, can you talk us through your chamomile balm, which is really lovely? That creates quite a nice barrier on the skin, doesn't it? But it also sinks in as well, so it's kind of the best of both worlds.
Yeah, so the chamomile balm, it's got the coconut oil and shea butter and aloe butter in it, which is basically coconut oil with aloe extract into it, and calendula oil. So it is, even though it has got like bigger molecules, it does absorb quite well into the skin. It's got a beeswax also in it. So it makes it like a really nourishing balm. I do like that it stays on top as well, and it's not really for the face, but some people do find that it is useful for their face as well.
Yeah.
But I tend to use it on my body because I do have oily skin already. But people, like my customers that have had drier skin, they say that it's fine on their face.
Yeah.
So I think it really depends on the skin type that you can use it really.
Yeah, definitely. Lucia, you mentioned preservatives, and there's certain preservatives which are accepted in natural and organic skincare formulations, but some of those preservatives can cause irritation. Like, I know I never know how to pronounce it. It's like phenoxyethanol. Vanessa, do you have any preservatives that you think are better than others, or do you think it's all much for muchness in terms of causing irritation?
I don't really use any preservatives in my products, but when I do like at home formulate products with water in it, because it's only water-based products that need preservatives, I use the ones that are eco-certified, so that I kind of trust those more. That if they're allowed by like eco, then I tend to trust those preservatives more. But the other ones, like obviously the parabens and things like that, and the phenoxy.
I know everyone pronounces it differently.
Yeah, I don't, because I've heard things about those in preservatives. I obviously don't really want my products to be as natural as possible. So when I do like test different things with water in it, I don't use anything like that really, as well I don't want it to cause any reaction as well for my customers.
In terms of, so we've talked quite a lot about ingredients now, but are there particular product types that we maybe should avoid if we are experiencing sensitivity? You mentioned the water-based ones, like maybe a micellar water or a water-based moisturizer. Is there anything other than water-based products, Lucia, that you think you might want to avoid if you have got sensitive skin?
Well, drying products. So, again, it goes back. If it is a surfactant, and, there are different types of surfactants, and there are some that are gentle. One is called cocamidyl betaine, which is the one that, you can use for babies as well. What is, like the producers have to adjust to the customer's need because customers want to see a lot of foam, okay? So there are surfactants that are cleansing the skin gently, but they don't do so much foam. And that's meaning that they don't strip the skin. But many customers, they prefer to see foamy, otherwise they don't feel clean.
Yeah.
And that's when, when you create a shampoo or a soap, like hand soap, a shower gel, you always need to add maybe a couple because you have the bubbly thing and the more gentle thing, and then you work with the percentages. So, if you have dry skin, avoid harsh, avoid whatever, for example, you find at the supermarket, okay? So, no. High street, it depends. And maybe avoid scrubs that are too aggressive. But, sometimes it's the ingredients and some other time is how often you use it. If you use a very natural organic scrub that's very gentle and you use it maybe once per month rather than, every second day, no.
Yeah.
Because even if you have sensitive skin, it's still important to do a bit of exfoliation because you can get like patchy and like dead skin cells like accumulating and then you see flaky skin.
Yeah.
So probably rather than a foam or something with ingredients that's like a long list, so not to the long list because there will be always something that's causing irritation or redness. Or
and then it's harder to figure it out what it is, isn't it? The longer the list, the harder it is to pinpoint. Vanessa, would you add any other product types to avoid to Lucia's list?
Not really. I was thinking the same thing, really, to avoid harsh cleansing products, like as well with even body washes. Like try to look for ones with gentle surfactants in it, or like maybe don't even use a body wash at all. Because I was thinking last year I had a skin reaction as well, and my skin broke out everywhere with like really red patches everywhere. And so how I treated that was I used a mix of coconut milk and oatmeal on my skin. Just mix the two powders together, and I would just add it to a little bit of water and rub that on my skin, and that really helped to reduce the irritation and everything. So I didn't use any soap on my skin at all. It was just that mix that I used on my like my arms and legs, my body really, that helped to get rid of that. So you don't have to use soap on your skin. It's like as well your face, you can oil cleanse as well, or use a balm to cleanse your skin. You don't have to use foamy products to cleanse your skin. Gently cleanse your skin so that you don't irritate. Really.
Yeah, I think growing up, I don't know about you two, but it was very much like your skin should feel tight after you've cleansed it because that's it, working, it's cleaning, and it's, we know now, like that is just absolutely terrible advice. Like your skin should be nourished and maintain like the softness to it. So yeah, it's like both of you have said, it's those kind of stripping products, peels, acids, toner, like heavy stripping toners, all of those kind of watery kind of based ingredients as well. And then Vanessa, what about products that are very helpful for dry or sensitive skin conditions? There's product types that we should maybe look for, your body butter, for example, but are there any other types of products that are great for the skin?
Yeah, so like you said, like body butters, balms and oils that are really, like Lucia said as well, oil-based, not water-based products that will really nourish the skin and help to repair the surface of the skin, so that obviously you won't have any, because like once the skin's open with the dryness and it's cracked, then things get into the skin and can cause further irritation. So we really want to help to nourish the skin and repair the damage to the skin. Yeah, I think our oil-based products, but as well, I think oil-based products do need to be used on damp skin as well, so that you lock the water into the skin, lock the moisture into the skin with the oil or the balm, whatever you use.
Okay, great. And we've touched upon it quite a bit throughout, but when we're looking for that root cause, if we first start to experience a reaction, what's your advice for what we should do next? Like obviously in the immediate, and then also longer term. I think, Lucia, if you could answer what we should do immediately if we have a reaction, because you've got great experience of this, and then Vanessa will go to you for how to kind of do that tracing back that you were talking about earlier. So Lucia, what would you suggest?
Yeah, I suggest always keep in your house something that's like nourishing, like a nourishing balm or a serum, like an oil that's non-fragranced. So, just keep it like in your handbag or like as an emergency, because that's what, very likely is going to help more. Because even if you think like aloe gel, well, yeah, it's not aloe, it's whatever the 5-10% of other ingredients that, they could cause more irritation. So, there are some ingredients like aloe which are very easy to deteriorate, so you need to add like very heavy preservatives, generally synthetic. So even like oat, we know that oat is good, like prepare like water with oat, like flour or like the breakfast oats. Like let it melt for a few minutes. You'll get like a white water and apply on face or body. One other thing you need to consider is that water contains chlorine. So what I do myself, I have a filter in the house. So I have a filter for the shower, it's vitamin C. So vitamin C filter on the shower will help to eliminate chlorine in the water. And for the kitchen, I have another filter, which I use for like washing vegetables and things like that. So sometimes you need to think about the obvious, and obvious could be water. So even like keep one bottle of still water in the house, or invest in a water filter, even like a Brita. A Brita, it's like maybe 20 pounds, but you have it forever. And the filter costs maybe £3 for 1 month, which is totally reasonable, because you can do hundreds of liters of clean water.
Okay, good advice. And then Vanessa, if we are seeing sustained irritation, how do we track that and try and figure out where it's coming from?
Well, I would firstly, whatever the last product was that we introduced, probably stop using that and see if the irritation still continues or not. And if it doesn't, then you have to kind of backtrack through your products which one it could be, and obviously check the ingredient list, see if it's any particular ingredient that your skin could be reacting to. Like if you know already that your skin is sensitive, or you're sensitive to something, then look through them. And for me, with my boys, I usually try one ingredient at a time, so I can do it. I don't make like a whole product. Sometimes it's just one ingredient that I can try on their skin and see, is it this ingredient that they're reacting to. But you can also, like, as well, if you have bought a product, you can do patch testing as well, and see like after 24 hours has your skin reacted to it, and then you'll know possibly if it is that ingredient, which is possibly the easiest way to work out before. If you can get a sample of a product as well, to just patch test it if you know you have quite sensitive skin, and then you know not to buy a full size of that product.
And where should we be patch testing? Because sometimes they say maybe on your elbow or your wrist, but maybe is it different on the face? Should we patch test near our face, or does it not matter?
When I used to do like hairdressing, we have to patch test dyes and that, and I think we used to do it behind their ear. I think that's like the skin would be similar to your face there, so I think that would probably be a better place to patch test.
Okay, perfect. For me, I would say try to keep a diary, as laborious as it sounds, but when you're trying to figure out if it's a product that you're putting on your skin or if it's actually a more deeper issue in terms of maybe diet, or even fabrics, like wool can cause allergies, certain synthetics, detergents and things like that, is sort of keep a diary of everything you've come into contact with, whether it's food or products, and really try to simplify what you're eating and what you're putting on your face and your body, so that you can try to work out quite easily like where it's coming from. It does involve eating quite a lot of boring things for quite a long time, but if you're getting lots of other issues related to these dry skin conditions or these sensitive skin conditions, then that's sort of what I would advise from my own experience. Chantal's asking Lucia, she said, I need that shower filter. Can you tell us where you got it from?
I got it from Amazon. So the brand name is it's like a Greek starting with K, but just look on Amazon for vitamin C shower filter.
Okay, cool.
And it will show in orange, so the orange filter contains the vitamin C, which you put into the shower head, and you change it as soon as it finishes.
Okay.
It's quite good because it's also like it's for sensitive skin, but also nice for the hair. So it makes nicer hair as well if you wash your hair in the shower.
Great. I suppose now we should talk about both of your products, because obviously they're both formulated specifically for dry and sensitive skin types. So Vanessa, can you talk us through which products are most suitable for maybe particular skin conditions, or maybe a bestseller that people go for if they're first experiencing sensitivity? What's good from Ezape Naturals?
My bestseller is the chamomile balm here. Most people, or most of my customers, really like the product because they say after a few days they notice that their skin is so much better. Like the amount of reviews that I've got, that people say like, I can't believe that it's helped my skin so much, and only after a few days, like their hands, if it's all cracked and peeling, it helps. And like my customers use it on their face as well if they've got any reactions, and they say they can't believe that it's helped so much. And I'm like really happy with that, because I first formulated this product as a nappy balm for my daughter, and like I saw as well how when I put it on, if she did have any nappy rash, how it did so quickly help heal her skin. And then for other people to be saying that as well, that just makes me so happy to know that it really does work so well. And then like my second product is the new one that I just launched, is the bath salts as well. So this is like I talked about before, not stripping the skin. So because this product contains like coconut, fractionated coconut oil as well. So that will really help in the bath to moisturize your skin as well, because sometimes salts on its own can sometimes feel drying when you come out, or for me anyway, when I used it by itself it was a little bit drying, so I added the coconut oil into it, and it really makes it moisturizing and helps to nourish and soothe the skin as well. So yeah, those are the two products that I would from my range really recommend for anyone like starting out, because they really help. And obviously my body butter as well helps, but my best product would be the balm probably.
Perfect. And Lucia, how about you? What's in your range that's particularly good for sensitivity?
So I have one that a couple of my customers, they call the miracle cream. That's the Bellissima balm. I don't know if you can see. They all come in big and small, so you can test it. So the balm is really good for irritated skin, especially if you have allergies. Even like when you have pollen allergy, you get like red nose. Within 1 hour, your skin normal. Also, I'm told, I've been using it on my nieces and nephews as well. People tell me that they use it for their baby's balm, like when they get the nappy rash. And actually, one lady told me that she uses for her dog as well.
A dog?
The dog had surgery, and that was the only thing that healed faster.
Wow.
So we have sea buckthorn, rosehip, and shea butter. So it's all healing. And for the night, instead, we have the tomato cream. It's like tomato, carrot, seeds, and rice bran. So it's very healing, soothing, and locking in the moisture. So they are like a perfect combination, day and night, to keep everything. And in there, you have the whole omegas from 3, 5, 7, and 9. So, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm just going to quickly run through a few questions we had in advance. I think a couple of people knew that they were going to enjoy the sunshine, so they want to watch it back on the replay. So first one is, do you have any sun cream recommendations for sensitive skin? Do either of you recommend a sunscreen?
I can do. So when you buy sunscreen, you need to check. So sunscreen is either mineral protection, which means that it reflects the sunlight, or chemical, meaning that it absorbs, the UVA, UVB. So first of all, you need to check that UVA and UVB protection, considering that the UVA is the one that's aging, and the UVB is like you need a bit of that because it's you need a bit of vitamin D, and that's the UVB is the one that blocks the absorption of the vitamin D as well. So always check that. If you find ingredients like oxybenzone, that's synthetic. So if you want a natural sunscreen, you should look for zinc oxide and titanium oxide, I think, as well.
Titanium dioxide, I think it is.
Dioxide, yeah. But check that it doesn't say nano, because nano means that such a small molecule that's going to go into your bloodstream. So it's currently under investigation from the European Cosmetic Society. So brands that are like good, like reasonably good, like Green People, unscented, but they have nanoparticles.
Yeah.
So instead, another one is the Beauty Kitchen. So the Beauty Kitchen, they do non-nano, and they add, you get that bit of white. So the white is not bad. You just need to be a bit more patient to apply it evenly, and don't put too much. So if you see that's too much, then use it for other parts of your body or your hands or your arms. Don't put only here, think about your hands. And so these are the two brands that at the moment they are kind of acceptable.
Yeah, I like Green People, but we also have Eau de Luxe sunscreen, which is a mineral sunscreen, and that's very good.
Was saying.
It's
I think they're launching soon, or
no, it's launched. Yeah, we've got it, which is very exciting. So, but yeah, they've had theirs kind of independently tested as well for the UVA and the UVB. I know that some mineral sunscreens you can't necessarily get tested for the level of protection, so I'd also recommend looking out for that as well. One for Vanessa, I think. I've got a very dry scalp with occasional dermatitis. I've tried lots of medicated shampoos, but nothing works. What do you recommend?
Shampoo, is it?
Yeah, well, they've got very dry scalp, so is there maybe something?
I would probably say to apply some coconut oil to the scalp before shampooing. And obviously make sure the shampoo hasn't got sodium lauryl sulfate or any harsh cleansing agents in it.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure about the shampoos, to be honest with you. So I can't really recommend a shampoo.
You can also do like a scalp mask with some argan oil or something, I would say, because that can help dryness. Lucia, have you got any suggestions on that? I saw you like nodding very ferociously as we said medicated shampoos.
I said, no, 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 no. So, if you have a problem, first thing, see if there is anything natural. Then if it is really bad, yeah, you search for expert help or like dermatology or... so what's good, think that clay cleanses the skin and also the hair. So if you have very, very long hair, it will take a bit a while and it will maybe make your hair a bit fizzy, but it's still cleansing. And remember that there are herbs. So there are some herbs powder that you apply in your head and all like hair and scalp, that they are cleansing. And so those that they contain saponin, saponin is coming naturally from leaves and it cleanses. So, all the surfactants and natural detergents, they come from, because they are being extracted from leaves. So if you're looking for something really, really, really gentle, go for herbs.
Okay.
And you can maybe ask, and I can send you a couple of names or a couple of Latin names for looking for the inchi.
Okay, great. We can pop those in the comments once we've put the replay out. So yeah, that should be up tomorrow. If you could add those on, that'd be great. And then let's go to your last questions. It's pretty appropriate at the moment. I think it's only going to get worse as we come out of the lockdown. Vanessa, we had quite a few questions on this actually. Hand sanitizers are so drying for hands because they've got alcohol in there. What would you recommend to use to help keep our hands from not cracking, not getting infected, getting sore? I'm sure you've had this quite a lot with your lockdown.
Many of my customers as well have actually started to use my chamomile balm because they said that their hands are cracking and dry and everything. So I think applying a good balm to your hands every time you wash them or you use the sanitizer to really help protect and nourish your skin, really, yeah. And obviously the soap, don't use anything that's too drying. So be gentle with the cleansing as well.
Great.
Because we are doing it regularly.
Yeah. I think probably, like you say, use a balm rather than a water-based hand lotion, because whilst they smell nice and they go into the skin really easily, you're not going to get that healing and that protection. So yeah, great advice there. So I think we're going to call it a day there, and we can just enjoy the last little bit of heat that we've got left. So thank you so much for watching. I hope we've kind of answered everyone's questions, but if you've got any more, pop them in the comments. And I've put links to both Vanessa and Lucia's products as well, which you can find on our website. So if you wanted to check out the ranges, please do, and then send us any questions that you have. And then if you want to join us, we're back again in 2 weeks' time with another live stream, which is all about how to kind of make the switch to your conscious beauty regime. So if you're just starting out switching to natural and organic, then it's definitely one for you to watch. Or if you're already on that journey and you want to kind of pick up some extra tips, then please join us there. And Vanessa will be back with us for that. So that's very exciting. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you again soon.